So first of all, my name is Eddie Trustovich, and I am, let's say project coordinator, but I initiated this project. And on my right-hand side here, I have Valentina Mitskovsky, who's the project manager for this particular initiative. And Valentina and I guess, worked very closely to establish the baseline for this project, come up with the ideas, what we thought, based on our own experiences, is valuable, given that we have a lot of international experience. I also wasn't born in Australia. I just happened to come here a very long time ago. That's probably why I don't have an international accent anymore. But I do understand international students quite well. I've taught them for at least 15 years. And Valentina's worked in careers and mentoring probably for at least just as long, if not longer. So between us, we have a fair bit of experience in this field, so you can trust that you're in good hands. I've worked at Trobe University for the last, since 2007, I've been employed here at the Trobe University. In between that, I've had various stints with industry. I work very closely with industry, so I understand the challenges that you guys are facing. But of course, this program wouldn't be what it is unless we had former international students who are actually your mentors. And that's why we named the program Working in Australia Mentoring Program. I'll explain some of the background and theory why we came up with the program. But I'm very excited to have at least 3/4 of the students that were signed up for the info session. I think we have a total of 60 students signed up so far. 50, 60 students signed up for the program so far. One of the things that I will ask you to do is, once you realize the value of this type of mentorship program, we'll expect you to become ambassadors of the program and to help us recruit additional students into the program. You see, a lot of students don't actually understand the value of being mentored. They don't see the value of spending an additional hour or two a week with someone who has a lot of knowledge in the industry as something that's valuable towards you. But we know from experience that it does make a difference in your employment. And I guess at the end of the day, the most important thing for all of you is, will I be employed once I graduate? And this is the difference between formal and informal education, right? So we know the difference between formal and informal education, right? Formal education's happened in your primary school, it's happened at the high school level, maybe a technical college, and it's also happened at the university, or let me say it's happening at the university. But then everything else happens informally. And it's this informal education that hasn't been paid enough respect over the years. In fact, slowly universities are starting to realize that maybe not everything that's taught should be taught in the classroom. Maybe some of that needs to happen outside of the classroom. It needs to happen in an environment that feels more natural to learning, right? Every day you interact with people, you're learning. Every time you watch or read something, you're learning. Every time you make a mistake, you're learning. And in fact, some of the best learning occurs when you make mistakes, when you fail, when you fall over. You learn how not to do that again. And what's one of the things that I do want you to encourage in this program? You need to be able to open up. It's one of the most important things about any mentorship program, whether you're a student, or you're a mentee, or you're the mentor, you need to be able to open up, right? Personalities will be, I guess, grown over time as a result of you connecting with your mentor. And also connecting with the peers who are also part of your mentoring group. So I will ask you, just trust the system, trust that it works. I've done this for years. I've seen students grow into absolutely brilliant professionals, and some of them are panelists today. They're former students of mine that have gone on to do some amazing things, and I keep track of what they're doing, and they impress me every single day. And then I think back in time and I remember how far people have come. You know, you come first year into Australia, that's a challenge. Going through a 2-year master's course, or 18 months depending on what you're studying, and you think to yourself, you know, this is going to be tough. Not just from a study perspective, but it's going to be tough for me to actually get used to Australia, get used to the lifestyle, get used to the language. And I don't just mean the formal English, I mean the informal English that you need to be able to utilize when seeking jobs. And so the background and theory to this entire program is we wanted to come up with an innovative way to ensure that students at La Trobe University, because this is where we're piloting the program, you guys just happen to be lucky to be studying here, to really get industry professionals that have gone through what you guys are going through. Okay? So I'm more than happy to mentor as many students as possible, and I've been doing it for years. But my method of mentoring you and the method of getting mentored by someone who has been where you are a few years ago is completely different. Okay? That doesn't mean that you can't have more than one mentor. It just means that there's a certain connection between you and someone that's recently graduated and has gone through what you've gone through. And that's why we came up with this program. We wanted to improve international student wellbeing. We applied for a grant from Study Melbourne, which is a state government initiative, to help us finance the program, and Valentina will talk a little bit more about the ins and outs of what we'll finance and what we won't finance. But the ultimate goal is to ensure that you guys are more capable of applying for jobs, that you're more capable of interacting with professionals in Australia, that you better understand the workplace environment here. It's very different in every country, and I guess you could flip it the other way around. If I tried to get a job in Iran, or China, or India, or Bangladesh for that matter, I would find it significantly more difficult to get a job there. Despite my professionalism, despite my knowledge, I'd have difficulties, but not impossible task of getting across the line. Now, you guys have one big advantage. You're spending 2 years in a safe environment. We call this the university environment, the learning environment. In this environment, you are safe to fail, right? Of course, failing is not something that you want to do often, but when you do fail, it's not the end of the world. In the professional world, it's a place where you really don't want to fail all the time. You want to ensure that you're progressing and you're making the right moves, because ultimately you have about 2 years after you graduate to find full-time employment, and I think most of you do want to get permanent residency or citizenship. When I ask people what the split in the class is between who wants to get a job here and who wants to work internationally, I think most students will say, I'd love to work in Australia, right? You agree? Hand up if that's true. Hand up if that's true for most people. Okay, I think that's true for most people. Okay, so what we want to do in this program is really give you an edge, right? We want to give you an edge in the workplace. And how do we do that? Well, quite simply, we will equip you with the enterprise skills that are required to make you stand out. All right? Remember, there are 205,000 international students in Victoria. 205,000. And I found that out today. I didn't actually know there were that many international students. 40 to 50% of those are studying at institutes like the Trobe University or universities. Okay, so you are competing with 100,000 students with university qualifications every single year. Now, just think about that for a second. 100,000 in Australia alone. That doesn't take into account other international professionals who are applying for roles in Australia without going through university here. So it's an extremely competitive process that you have to go through to be selected in various jobs. Okay, so it seems like mission impossible. Nevertheless, mission impossible is what we love, because challenges need to be solved, and I think you guys are all very clever and you can solve those challenges. But to overcome those challenges, you need to first of all realize that you need to improve. As does everyone, as do I. I improve every day, I try to learn something new every day. So keep an open mind, ensure that you're ready to learn. Val will talk about this. Make sure that you respond to emails, and one of the things that most people hate, not being punctual. Be on time. Okay, your mentors are taking time out of their professional lives, and if you want to equate that to dollars, remember, most people get paid anywhere between $50 to several $100 an hour, and if they're consulting, it could be in the thousands. So these people are spending very valuable time, their own time, which equates to dollars, to be able to educate you. And why are they doing that? Well, quite simply, they want to give back. Someone has provided that knowledge to them, someone has helped them out, and statistics don't lie. Philanthropic stats say that people who help others were helped at some stage in their life. And 80% of people who were helped will help someone else. So what we expect you to do one day, and I hope I'll be able to see a lot of you in a few years' time when you're working out in industry, is come back and give back to the community. It's pay it forward mentality that really helps us drive success. We're all one big team, we're all here to help each other, so I hope that you'll be able to familiarise yourself with the other people in this program that will celebrate each other's successes, ours and yours, and that will deliver the goods and ensure that you guys are quite employed. So, what do we want to do in this session? We basically want to give you an overview of the program. Now, some of you have looked at the details of the program, some of you have read online, a lot of you have come to see Valentina and speak to her about your CVs, your cover letters, your LinkedIn profiles. A lot of you are very shy to record your Minute Me video. We will, in this session, go into the details of that, but we will also start to encourage you to do that more frequently. We'll encourage you, give you tips on how to better engage with your mentor and how to really get your learning skills up during this semester as well as next year. This is a 12-month mentoring program, not a 12-week mentoring program. Some people did ask me that question. The other thing that I want to highlight in this program is that it's unique because you will have an opportunity to spend some time in industry, right? It is up to you to drive the program. One thing that you should not expect is for your mentor to chase you, okay? The mentor has something that you want, not the other way around, okay? Although that may happen, at this stage, the mentor is employed, the mentor has knowledge that you want, right? So you need to actually initiate contact. You need to chase the mentor. If the mentor is finding that you're not engaging, right, he's probably not going to, or she's not going to pay the attention that you want to get later on the track. So I encourage you to really put a lot of time in and effort to ensure that there's regular communication with your mentor and so on. Okay, so I'll let Val talk about how to get the most out of your mentorship program. I mentioned a few things here, but the expectations that we have from you and your mentors, we're going to cover all of this. You know, what it means to be professional in Australia. And I'll give you a couple of examples because my brother and I have several companies that we run here and we have a few international students employed, but far from many. And the primary reason is that you don't click into the Australian workplace environment. It is not the fact that you're not a good student, that you're not a good problem solver. It is that you make other people feel uncomfortable in the workplace because you're not engaging in the way that people are used to having that engagement. And it makes a hell of a difference. It makes a difference because if you come from a different cultural background, you shouldn't be discriminated against, but let's be realistic. You will feel some of that discrimination. I don't want to lie to you, right? And this is true for every country around the world. It's not discrimination in the form of full-blown racism, but you will be put second on the list as a result of not having PR. And many of you will come and see me and say, I can't get an internship, I don't have permanent residency. They want permanent residency for everything. The panel here today will prove to you that you don't need to be a permanent resident to secure work here. Okay, there are companies that hire students without permanent residency, but I think what you'll learn as well is that you need to take every opportunity in front of you and not just be super picky about I want this and I want that, to build your portfolio of skills, to build your capabilities, and to demonstrate to future employers, your ideal employers of course, that you have work experience in Australia. And whether that's voluntary work experience or paid work experience, it's irrelevant. You need to demonstrate that you can work with people in Australia. And you'll find very, very quickly that that takes a little bit of time, but at the rate at which it happens depends on you. You need to engage. So one thing that I always encourage my students at the university is, yes, you feel comfortable sitting around with your friends who happen to come maybe from the same country, or maybe even from the same city, or maybe even the same university back home. I'm going to say I discourage that in this particular program. I want you to start hanging out with people that you're not comfortable hanging out with, because this will prepare you quite well for the workplace. And more so, start hanging out with people from different cultures. Start hanging out with people that are not in your area of study. If you're studying engineering, go and hang out with someone with humanities. If you're studying humanities, go and hang out with someone in health sciences. This is the only way to create that uncomfort into comfort environment and to help you succeed later on in your career. So why this program? Okay, this program is quite unique. Nothing like this has ever been implemented before. There are hundreds of mentoring programs around the world. I'm sure you've maybe even participated in one in the past. I certainly have. But there is no mentoring program that's run by former international students for international students. So first of all, you're in a very unique program. Secondly, we want you to learn about your profession, but not by listening to professors at the university, by going out and engaging with industry professionals. Your mentor will act as a gateway that will provide plenty of opportunities for you to interact with not only them, but others in the profession. But what you need to demonstrate is a level of maturity to be able to take that information, comprehend it, and also not make the mentor feel uncomfortable when you're introduced to a much wider network. So networking is essential in this program here. You have to connect with people who are like-minded. And I don't just mean the mentors and people in their network, I mean the people in this room. The fact that you've decided to participate in this program, I'm already thinking that you're a winner. You've taken the first step in the right direction. Now there's a lot of work in front of you, but you've taken the step in the right direction, and things will happen over time depending on how much effort you put into it. Opportunity to meet mentors, colleagues at their company. You will have lots of opportunities to get out to the company. Some of these may be limited depending on where your mentor comes from. If your mentor works in a tightly regulated government environment, the likelihood of you going into that facility may not be quite high. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get any value by getting out close to the facility and hanging out and spending time with the professionals. Simple gestures, okay, and simple opportunities will sometimes result in much bigger things. So one thing that's quite common in Australia is to go and socialise. Whether you drink alcohol or not, it's irrelevant at this point in time. What is relevant is that you need to get out and socialise. And socialise in the environment that a typical Australian would socialise. When I travel the world, I don't go looking for an Australian-looking pub to drink a beer or have a meal. I go and experience the culture. And I'm sure that you've already tried to do that somewhat in Australia, more from a touristy perspective. But now what we want you to do is experience the Australian culture in the workplace. And the workplace isn't just the four walls around us where we do some programming, take care of patients, or help someone bank millions of dollars. The workplace also extends beyond the 9 to 5, 8 to 4. Right? It's that social environment that you need to get familiar with, that you will really get your head around and grasp it. So networking after work on a Friday evening, if you've got the choice of going home and watching a movie on the couch, or going out to a pub, even if you don't drink, and socialising and meeting people, I highly recommend you go and do that. Spending an hour with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or going to a professional development event, go to the professional development event, okay? I know people won't necessarily like that, but remember, you've sunk so much time and so much money into your career, right? What you want to do is ensure that all that money you've sunk in pays off. And it will only pay off by making sacrifices, okay? And sacrifices are, when you're having the most fun and you're really enjoying a moment, saying no to something like that to put some time into your career, that's what makes the difference between someone who's super successful and someone that's just average, okay? That's the difference. And you need to be prepared to make some of those sacrifices along the way. I'm not saying that you completely negate, your private life and your family, but learning how to balance those two is very important. And a lot of students don't take advantage of the opportunities that exist here. We happen to live in the most livable city in the world, Melbourne. It's a fantastic city. You probably already figured that out. Maybe that was one of the reasons why you came here. But a great city like Melbourne provides millions of opportunities for you. There are lots of jobs in Melbourne, but there are lots of possibilities in Melbourne to expand your knowledge, to go to networking events, to join professional societies, to really understand how the world functions. We happen to live in a metropolitan hub, if you say that, for technology as well as other things that are attracted to it. At the end of this program, you will receive a certificate. The certificates will be signed by Trobe University, but they'll also be signed by people from the government, which is fantastic to have on your CV. Having this on your LinkedIn profiles, the program that you're participating, is a fantastic thing. You want people to know that you're participating in something like this. Extracurricular activities really get you a long way in your life. So pop them up on your LinkedIn profile. Proudly say I'm taking part of this program here. It also helps us promote the program. We really encourage that. But the certificate is something that you'll receive at a graduation. There is a big conference planned at the end of next year. I believe it's October. I can't remember the exact dates. What are the...
There's no exact date.
We haven't set the exact date yet, but the conference will bring together various people from the government. The plan is also to bring 2 ministers to that program. Lots of people from industry, probably the Vice Chancellor and various people. So it's a good opportunity for you to showcase what you've been able to do. We will ask students in the mentoring program to present some of their learnings from the program in front of a much larger audience. We're expecting anywhere between 400 to 500 attendees at that program. So it's something that's a unique opportunity for you guys to showcase who you are, how you've developed. It's an opportunity for you to meet new people and also showcase your capabilities for potential employment. Okay, as I said, you can put all of this on your resume, and one of the other things that's quite important is you can ask your mentor to be a referee, not just on a job application, but they can write you recommendations for various things that you do in life. Your mentor won't just be a mentor, your mentor will become a lifelong friend. Okay, I've learned this throughout my life. People that have mentored me, we stay in touch, we're very close, we have dinners together, we sometimes travel together, but we celebrate each other's successes, because in 5 years' time, you guys are going to be super successful. And there's nothing more pleasing for a mentor than one of their mentees goes out and does great things. They'll be very proud of that. You'll also be able to reflect on what you've learned in this program, and hopefully, at the end of all of that, you will become a mentor for someone else in this program. I do hope that we'll be able to extend this program beyond this current 12-month program.
As we know, there's so many international students, but you will not only be competing with international students here. What is worse thing, you'll be competing with local students. Okay, so you really need to learn how to stand out from other candidates and to know what your qualities are and to be able to articulate those. Yeah? So what you need, what I was doing actually when I was reading through your profiles and through your resumes, if I would notice a really technical direction in your resume, I would match you with someone who is maybe less technical. So you can learn a little bit about business, get some soft skills in your personality, okay? So I really, really hope you enjoy this experience. So what is the commitment that we require from you? It's not really too much, you know, and you will gain so much just by spending 1.5 hours once a month with your mentor and with your group of students that you'll be allocated with. So we want you to be committed to this program, and what that means, I can just see where I am at the moment. So you will be spending 15, at least minimum 15 times per year. However, you know, it's up to you really how you want to lead this program. It will be up to you to initiate meetings with the mentor. So apart from your mentoring, you will be developing leadership skills as well. Okay. So Eddie has already mentioned you'll be receiving the certificate in the end, and you'll have the opportunity to attend the conference too. Whilst you are attending mentoring meetings, look, some students would prefer structured meetings, some students are more informal. So it's really up to you and the mentors of course, and their style and approach, you would like this to be done. But there's a sheet, process action plan that you can use and make some goals for yourself. So maybe start even thinking now, what would you like to get out of your mentoring program? What goals do you want to achieve during the 12-month program? I just want to give you the dates for the mentoring process. So next week, for those students who have applied for a mentoring program, you will be allocated to the group on Tuesday, 11th of September, or Thursday, the 13th of September. So I'll be sending you an email probably by Sunday. Hopefully I'll have allocations done by then, and please try to make yourself available. It is really important for you to attend your first meetings, and then it's up to you to, to schedule your time, the time and the way you want to meet with your mentor. It can be done by Skype or on the phone. It's really up to you and your mentor how you do that. So what is really important, what I wanted for us to cover today is professionalism. So the standard of professionalism needs to be really high. That's what we are expecting from you. So what does it really mean? Professionalism in your country doesn't have to be the same as in Australian business context, okay? So punctuality, we say you need to be punctual. What does it mean? What do you think in Australia? Being on time, letting people know, when you commit to someone, getting back to them. Being on time means either 10 minutes earlier or really on time, so not 10 minutes later, okay? So another thing that is really important is professional attire or smart casual clothes when you're meeting with professionals, okay? So you really need to look professional. That first impression is really important. So the first impression is really important, and you will feel a bit more businessy when you wear a little bit of business clothes. Eye contact. In some cultures, eye contact is not, it's not something appropriate. Am I right? Yeah. So in Australia, You really need to keep your eye contact when you're talking to someone. That means trust, okay, and respect. So when you're talking to a person, you really need to show an interest, genuine interest, and look at them in the eye. Very important. Yep. Smile. When you smile, other people will look towards you as well. Okay, so having an open body language, being interested in a person, having a chat to them, that is positive. That is professionalism. Being a good listener, that's a way of communicating, especially because you'll be put in groups. Okay, so being a good listener is really important, and knowing when to talk and when not to. You will also be, apart from being mentored, you will be put in groups. So it's really important that you learn how to deal with other people, especially from different cultural backgrounds. Okay, so try to be acceptable of other people as well. Please be committed to the program. We really hope that you will enjoy this experience and that you will help us develop this program to become even better and expand it further. And as Eddie mentioned, to be ambassadors for next group of students.
We do want to make sure that you completely understand. As I said, it's important that you understand the ins and outs. So Val talked about the matching process and the importance of being open-minded in that process. Often, you need to understand, often you need a mentor from another profession to really open you up. Okay, so it's no good having an engineer mentoring an engineer, especially if both engineers happen to be very closed. Okay, and unfortunately, people who study STEM, so anything in the science, engineering, mathematics areas, we tend to be very closed people, generally. That's why we chose the profession. Not always true, but in most cases. So having someone from the humanities who's very talkative, right, very open-minded, very articulate, right, is a good way of opening yourself up. Because remember, I have no doubt that every single one of you here will be fantastic at the area that you're studying in. What I have concerns about is that you're going to be a poor communicator, you're going to have a lack of understanding of what professionalism in Australia means, right? You're going to have a lack of understanding of how to attain a job, how to write a CV, how to dress appropriately, how to network with people that you're comfortable and not comfortable with, and everything else that comes around it. Subsequently, the mentor can also provide additional information in your area of expertise, but keep an open mind. If you get matched with someone who doesn't happen to be a computer scientist who's doing machine learning, it's not the end of the world, okay? I've mentored people in health sciences and I've mentored people in law and humanities before. So that's a very, very important part. So please think about what questions you have in mind if there's something that's not clear. Val talked about the dates next week and how important they are that you need to meet with your mentor. If you have any questions along the way, what we do want to create is a frequently asked question sheet. And here you'll have questions like, how often should I be contacting my mentor, even if the mentor is initiating contact? What if I can't meet my mentor? What if I haven't met my mentor in a month? Whatever those questions may be, we really want you to start thinking about them because these things will pop up.